Any other
Yeah, that's
questions?
great. Thank you, Ernst. And just to remind everyone, so we're taking appointments for free consultations with Mike Roast. He's with the AVEVA factory. He works down in next to development with Ernst and everybody down at Lake Forest. And so that's the week of July 7th. We're taking appointments. So you can feel free to use the chat if you'd like to book some time and talk that Ernst talked about. So any day, time, the week of July 7th, like I said, just go ahead and put in the request for a date and time that works for you, and we'll go ahead and book that, send you a meeting invite, and help you get started with OMI or any other system platform capabilities or capabilities we talk about today. And we also have an InTouch for System Platform online class. If you're new to system platforms, it's a great place to start. And that's July 21st to the 24th. And in the chat panel, I've put a link to our website where you can register for InTouch for System Platform on July 21st to the 24th. And that's an online class, so no need to travel for that. Okay, so if we don't have any other questions for Ernst, I'd like to thank you for your time. Great presentation as always, appreciate it. And I'm gonna go ahead and pass the presenter role next over to Scott Kortier. And so I'm gonna go ahead and make him the host. And Scott Kortier is gonna present on AVEVA Edge, formerly known as InTouch Edge or InTouch Machine Edition or InduSoft Web Studio. It's gone through quite the evolution of name changes over the years, but it is a very powerful SCADA solution that he's going to present on. Scott is the product manager for AVEVA Edge, and prior to that, he was a technical sales consultant for 7 years and has worked in the industrial automation industry for over 30 years. So he actually comes from the InduSoft family prior to the Wonderware AVEVA acquisition of InduSoft and the Edge product. So Scott, take it away.
Mike, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you great.
Great, thanks. You were talking about the evolution of the product name. I was going to talk about the evolution of your beard. It looks pretty good. looks good.
Thank you. Hey, Scott, if you could share your video, if you have that ability, we'd love to see your smiling face as well. Thank you.
Oh, you're going to make me do that, eh?
Well,
actually,
only if you're up for it here.
I got out of my pajamas today, so let's see. Hide. I don't know how to do that. It's a different menu that I'm used to. Hide okay. What am I looking for?
In the bottom left, you're going to have a share video button next to the mute button.
Start video. There we go. Magic. Hey, there we go.
There he is. Thanks.
Is that good? All right. Perfect. So Mike, thank you for the handoff there, and Ernst, thank you for the extra 5 minutes. So what I'm going to talk to you today is specifically about what is new and the different advanced features in AVEVA Edge 2020. But before I do that, because I recognize some of you maybe not familiar with the product, I'm going to step back a little bit and just give you a brief introduction to the product. This is a slide deck that is available. If you want to take a look at this, feel free to ask Wonderware California team or myself. But I'm just going to skip through a couple of slides here. The idea is we want to be able to get at any data through any different protocol, any different network, and then get that information up into a place where you can use it. And I say up, I basically mean to a place where you can use it, so that that data helps you do something with it. And for each of us, it's a little bit different, whether you're in manufacturing, whether you're a machine builder, whether you deal with a process, whether you're a utility, a power, infrastructure. The idea is that we're doing something or making something that's making a profit or making somebody's life better. And the general idea is to be able to get information to some place where you can use it. And I often start a lot of my presentations where I talk about how many of you, I literally ask the audience all the time, how many of you would come to work every day if you didn't collect a paycheck? And most people don't raise their hands. And the idea is, well, we're here to help our companies make a profit or make a product that somebody's going to buy. And the idea is to be able to get that information down here from the lower left And I don't know if Ernst has shown this diagram or previous presenters have, but the idea here for this product is down here in this lower left where you've got some type of asset, whether it's a machine, a sensor, a pump, a valve, a motor controller, and then be able to get that information up into the different various places where you can use that, whether it's in the system platform, whether it's up into the cloud, into the Insight platform, whether it's off into another product. Again, we want to be able to share that information and get that to where it's needed. So where is this product positioned? It's positioned not only down at the machine level, but what we call the edge level. And that could mean different things to different people. That could be a pump, a valve, a motor controller. It could be a whole machine. It could be a whole process. You have to think of the edge as different things of where you're going to be able to get that information. And then when we talk about edge devices, we're not purely talking about the traditional HMI. We're talking a little bit more advanced than that. The ability to not only do data acquisition, but some data manipulation as well. And what I mean by that is there's no sense in collecting up to the cloud all kinds of information if it's not in the right context, or if it's not filtered, if it's not providing you value. Well, let that edge device pre-filter that information before sending it to the cloud and get you the information that you need. And I often will draw this big swooping arrow on this diagram to make sure you feed back that information in the system, because there's no sense in collecting the data if you don't do anything with it. If you don't improve your process, improve performance, reduce your mean time between failures, or I should say, increase your mean time between failures and reduce your mean time to repair. That's really what it's all about. Now, this product has three kind of focuses. Portability, meaning we've got the ability to run on different operating systems from Linux, Windows CE, Windows Embedded, Windows Desktop, and Server editions. We've got the ability to have you be mobile or more efficient, and your operations staff and maintenance staff be more efficient by allowing this product to be viewed, but not only viewed, but interacted with on tablets and phones and desktops through browser technology. And then the interoperability component of this means we've got over 200 drivers built into the product, but not only drivers for PLCs, other things like temperature controllers, motion, vision, RFID, barcode, you name it. We've probably got a driver for doing this. In addition to that, for example, robots. But so much more than just the built-in and included drivers, unlike some of our competitors that only offer a handful of drivers, and then you have to pay for OPC. Well, we kind of look at it as our drivers as plan A and OPC as kind of plan B, as a backup plan. Although we're very active with the OPC Foundation, and we do support both OPC UA and DA as a client and a server. So you've got the drivers built in for free. You've got the ability to use OPC, databases, cloud-based technologies, really the whole thing that you're going to need to put together something that is going to help you be more productive, be more reliable, offer your products more higher reliability, and of course with more security in mind. So with that, I'm going to switch now over to the what is new in this product. So I want to encourage you, if you don't know much about this product and what I just showed you, if you think that that's something you want to see more about and learn more about, please get a hold of your Wonderware California salesperson and say, hey, I need a demo, or get that Scott guy back over here and have him help us out. So we'll accommodate that. So anyway, moving on to what is new and advanced features for AVEVA Edge. So we just came out with Viva Edge 2020, and that's kind of the marketing name. Under the hood, it's actually version 20.0. We went from version 8.1 Service Pack 5 up to 2020 for various reasons. There were some underlying reasons, but also to kind of commonize with all the different products in the portfolio as well. And what you're going to see is, and Mike and I kind of joked around about this at the beginning, there's been some name changes. We went from InTouch Machine Edition originally to InTouch Edge HMI, and now the product is called AVEVA Edge. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that the product is AVEVA Edge. It's not AVEVA Edge 2020. 2020 is really the version. So it's AVEVA Edge. The version is 2020. And this is to really help position it not only within the AVEVA portfolio, but to understand that the product has a broader scope than just simply HMI. It really means much more than that. And what do we mean by that? Well, there's a few different things. First of all, the portability of this product, the ability to develop your project once and deploy it anywhere. What do I mean by that? So there's really several components to this product. And if I mention this bullet here, we've come up with new names for these components. So the development interface, we've renamed, we now call this AVEVA Edge Studio, or just simply Studio. And again, that's the development IDE. The 4 different runtime licenses that you see here, they are called AVEVA Edge SCADA for running on Windows or desktop or server editions. And then we have AVEVA Edge Embedded HMI for Windows embedded operating systems, Compact HMI for what was Windows CE is now Windows Embedded Compact, and the license IoT view specifically for Linux. Now, I want to bring up this idea again about the develop once and deploy anywhere. If you are a system integrator, a machine builder, really anything, you often will want to have different price points for your customers, and because they're always going to try driving your price points down and your features up. So the idea here is that you can develop your project once. So you develop that here on the bottom left-hand side in Studio, and then you can deploy that project to any of these 4 different runtime licenses. Now, here's a scenario. Let's say that you're a machine builder and you want to offer kind of an entry level, your standard level product. Maybe that's on a Windows embedded operating system, and maybe that's on a 12-inch touchscreen. Well, you maybe also want to offer that on a higher horsepower CPU, maybe a 15-inch touchscreen with different features, and then also on Windows CE on a 8-inch panel, but with slightly reduced features. You can develop one project and deploy to all 3 of those different operating systems without having to change that project at all. Sometimes a little bit, but usually no changes whatsoever. But that offers real value. And I talk to a lot of customers, and I talk to system integrators, I talk to machine builders, and personally, what is your product? And your product is your time. Your time is extremely valuable. And when you talk about being able to develop your project once without making changes, deploy it on those different levels, that brings a lot of value to what you have to offer, and lets you do other things with your day, honestly. The next thing that we've done is we've created a new development environment, a new user interface. We've updated the user interface. It's a more modern look and feel. Some things are laid out just more intuitively, and we put a few things in for higher productivity as well. So there's things like custom themes and better icons and better adherence to standards. So as you start to take a look across system platform and you look at InTouch, we're starting to use some of the same things and same technologies. And I'm going to give a quick demo of this user interface here in a second, but things like shortcuts and pop-up options where they didn't exist before. So let me just dive right into the development environment here. So this is AVEVA Edge 2020, and you've got the new ribbon interface here, kind of the Office 365 kind of look and feel. But one of the things that this brings along with it is up here in the upper right-hand corner, the ability to change your visual theme. So we have this default style that's kind of a blue and gray background, but some of you will be using this product for hours on end. And if you want to flip that style into something that's a little bit more easy on the eyes, even customizable, you can choose your own colors for that. I find that a lot of people like to run with this dark gray theme, and it's just a little bit more pleasing. Let me back it back out to the default style here. And some of the usability things that we've done in some of the, for example, the pop-up menus, we've laid out with these tabs, so just make the user interface a little bit cleaner than it was before. And another thing that we've done, several things that we've done. So first of all, we've renamed what was Database Spy to just become Watch or a watch window. And that was done for a few reasons, to make it common across the different portfolio products. But in addition, the word Database Spy just connotated security issues. So we got rid of a spy and replaced it with Watch. Some productivity things that we've done: when you're publishing screens to go to HTML, you used to have to go into the File menu and use the Save All as HTML here. Well, we've saved you a couple of mouse clicks, and now you can just right-click on screens and Save All as HTML. So we've moved that up a little bit closer to the front, make it a little bit easier. If you've ever developed a project with InTouch Edge or AVEVA Edge, you will often end up in your project folder, either reports or PDFs or CSV files. And so rather than navigating to your just File Explorer, let me pull this up off screen here, rather than opening your File Explorer through your Windows tools, you can just come up here to your project and right-click and open that project folder right in your File Explorer. So make that really easy. And I think, you know, some people are going to find that, well, it's a little trivial, but when you add up the number of times that you have to do all these things, it does save you time during the day. Something else that we added recently into the product down here in the output window, the troubleshooting things that we've added. So we've had a lot of troubleshooting tools and things that you can log and monitor, including tags. But now we allow you to log that to a file, and you can click on here and do things like log that to a file with the date, or you can give it a custom name. And in the past, you had to copy and paste this into Notepad, for example. Now it lets you log that directly to a file. So some really nice user interface things. A couple more that come to mind here under the Tasks tab. We have the scheduler. And the scheduler, in the past, if you were choosing one of the 3 different events, whether it was calendar, clock, or change, you would never know what fields to fill in. It lets you put stuff into fields that were not used. So we've now graded those out, the unused fields. So that's just a little bit more intuitive as well. So that's some kind of highlights and overview on the new development tools. Let's see, make sure we got everything covered there. We do. Now, one of the big things that I think most of you will have been looking for is industrial graphics. We've added industrial graphics into the product, and this first go at this, version 2020, we've added industrial graphics into AVEVA Edge SCADA. Now, for those of you who don't remember, that's the Windows desktop and Windows Server operating system. So it's not yet supported on embedded or the other platforms, but first go around is the Windows-based platforms. Now, one of the things that we've done with this is by getting the industrial graphics, again, formerly Orchestra graphics. These are the Orchestra graphics that many of you have known and loved in System Platform and in InTouch. By disconnecting or decoupling this editor from those products, one of the other things that we've done is we've made the viewer for this is really what we call a mobile access thin client. And a mobile access thin client is something you can view and interact with a tablet, a phone, any browser really, on a device. And what we've done is the local viewer for the industrial graphics is really a mobile access thin client embedded in your application. So a lot of times the question that I get is, does that count against my tag count? And the answer is no, it doesn't. Not tag count, sorry, your thin client license count. No, it does not count. That one local viewer screen does not count against your thin client license count. But by making the industrial graphics HTML5 compliant, that allows them to work with the mobile access thin client. So in addition to having the graphics available on the local runtime, you can also view and interact with those remotely across a browser, really any device. So that does a lot of things. That I'm not going to read all these bullet points, but that again offers consistency across the portfolio. So if you've got an industrial graphic, or again formerly known as orchestra graphics, that you developed in whether it's System Platform or InTouch, you can export that as an AAPKG file and bring that into Edge. And I don't think I have another slide on that. I don't. Let me go back up here, because what I'm going to do is go back into the development environment and show you here under graphics. I have the ability here under industrial graphics symbols to create a whole new, I can create from scratch a new symbol, or I can import a library. And what I did before this, it takes a couple of minutes, is I chose one of these libraries. I don't even remember which one I chose, but I opened that up and imported that. Now, some things to understand is that these libraries are installed when you install Edge, but they are not part of your project. So you have to go through this one-click import that library into your project, so those graphics become available. And we have the industrial graphics as well as the situational awareness graphics. If you have an export from another product in the portfolio, you can come in here and select custom file, and then grab that AAPKG file and then import that into your project. And so again, I brought one of these in ahead of time. And what I wanted to bring up is if I create a screen here, if I right click on screens and click insert, this allows me to create what we call a native screen, which is our traditional AVEVA Edge editor, where you can have squares and rectangles and apply animations and things of that nature. But a little different than that is the ability to insert an industrial graphics screen. And now what we're doing is opening up the traditional orchestra graphic editor, or in this case, we're calling it the industrial graphics editor. And so now you have the ability to put objects from this industrial graphics editor on the screen. And in addition to that, now we can get at the different symbols that we imported. So here's the industrial graphics library. If I want to drill into, I don't know, sliders, let's grab just a basic slider, drop it on the screen. I can now have industrial graphics inside of Edge. Now, when I save this screen and close this, I'll bring up a couple of different points. So this screen, when I save this, is going to be different than the native screen that I created earlier, which for some reason I didn't save. I just left hanging. Let me go ahead and save this one. And I want to show you that they are in fact different. I'll make this one as main. So here you can see there's two different icons. I have the screen main, which is the native editor, and screen one, which is the industrial graphics editor. Here's something else that we did new for this version, is we added a rename. So that I can come in here and very quickly and easily rename a screen. Now, you can have both of these screens available in the same project. And what I mean by that is just like I have here, where I have the native screen and the new screen. But in addition to that, I can use what's called screen groups. So I could open them up, maybe the main screen as the upper portion and the industrial graphics screen as the lower portion of the screen. You have that ability to mix and match and use those simultaneously to create, whether it's navigation or status areas. You can do that in this product as well. So was there anything else I wanted? Yeah, something else I wanted to bring up, because a lot of questions that I get. Notice here in Edge 2020, we've only got the ability to import. In the next update that's we're working on, we will have an export for the library, and then we will also have the ability to work with the style elements. Today we don't have that. That is not part of this, where you can select on an object and then choose the style elements here. That is coming. Today we don't support that, and I know we'll get a lot of questions on that if I don't bring it up, so I'll bring that up ahead of time. So let's see, Sparkplug B. One of the drivers that we have in the product for a while, have had in the product for a while, is MQTT. And if you don't know much about MQTT, It's pretty widely adopted, but it's realistically, it's more or less a messaging protocol. There's not much structure to it. In fact, you can really pretty much send anything you want to over MQTT. It's really just kind of text at that point. In fact, many people don't know this, but MQTT is the underlying technology for Facebook Messenger. What Spark-Plug-B brings to the equation is the ability to kind of give it a structure and give it some knowledge of more industrial type applications. So we have there's information on what they call a birth certificate and a death certificate. You have the ability to find tags, and so now when you pass that information, it's not just pure text, if you will. It's got some context behind it, and so we can collect using a Viva Edge running on let's say a low-end piece of hardware, either over OPC or one of the built-in drivers that we have, collect that information, and via MQTT with Spark-Plug-B, pass that to a broker. So we act as a publisher in this case. And then other software products such as System Platform can grab that information. They can subscribe to that. And this provides a very nice contextualized, and MQTT in general is fault tolerant and low bandwidth. I've seen some studies that have been done, especially on high cost, whether it be satellite or radio modem type applications, where they've driven the bandwidth down 90% of what the original bandwidth was. So that can help a lot. But then that data doesn't have to be stuck there. This is bidirectional, so you can get that information out to other devices that need it as well. So nice new technology in there for that Spark-Plug-B. Something else we've added in the product is AVEVA Edge Management. So if we take a look at a workflow in the product, and before I move on to the next slide, I'm going to go back into the development environment because this will help me explain this. We have this remote management tool where if you connect up via an IP address, you can then manage your project and download it and start and stop your project to an individual IP address. Well, that's great when you've got, let's say, less than 10 devices, 5 devices. That's great. I did this one time at a customer site, and I had 25 different computers that I was managing, and I'd have to connect and disconnect every time I wanted to move along. So what we've done is we've added this technology called AVEVA Edge Management. So like I've shown in the past, where you had to connect point to point, now what you have the ability to do is publish your project to the cloud, and your different devices have the ability to have an outbound secure connection. That's important to understand, because an outbound connection is just inherently more secure. You don't want anything from the outside pushing its way in, but if it asks for it from the inside out, that's okay. But you push your project up to the cloud, and then the devices can install the latest version. That's version of the project as well as version of the runtime as well. And then you have the ability to update that very quickly. And then even if you have multiple different projects, your applications can go get those as needed. Very, very scalable, very, very nice. And what eventually ends up happening is it's a container. You might not have heard of containers yet, but you will. So what lives out there is a host operating system, and then this container that we push. And that has a little bit of an operating system. It has the runtime, if you will, and then your project on top of that. So that all goes down, and it's all managed and very, very quick to happen. It's really kind of a neat technology. So today we have that for Linux on x64, which means kind of Ubuntu Linux. We are coming out with very shortly here ARM-based Linux, which is essentially Raspberry Pi or maybe small networking devices, and Windows-based, or the AVEVA Edge SCADA runtime. So those are the different edge management modules that we're coming out with. Now what I'm talking about is this deployment, this remote deployment tool. So that's something new in the product as well. Something else that we've done, and I think this is one of my last slides, is if you look at the licensing of InTouch Machine Edition or InTouch Edge, We had licensing that basically took you from 100 tags to either 3,000 tags for embedded or 500 tags to unlimited for the Windows-based runtime. We've changed that up a little bit. We've restructured this, added a few more layers in there, and given you some better price points. So, for example, if you were at 1,000 tags, now you'll be at 1,500 tags for the same price point. 3,000 tags will get you 4,000 tags for the same price point. A little bit more granularity and a little bit more tags to help you with that flexibility and competitiveness against competitors as well.